In this video, I want to talk about something that will undermine your attempts at mastering the broken octaves in the first movement of Beethoven's Pathetique Sonata, Opus 13 in C minor. There is a short on YouTube from a channel called Tone-Based Piano, where a prominent Irish pianist, Dr. John O'Connor, talks about how to play those broken octaves. In the short, he mentions the fatigue and stiffness, the tightening of the muscles or the nerves that those broken octaves are notorious for causing. And then, as a remedy, he says when practicing it, to use a rocking motion of the hand, very much akin to the movement it would make jiggling a doorknob. If in your practice you were to adopt what he recommends, which I'd say the chances that you do are quite high, because the information he's sharing is by no means unique or exclusive, but rather the most commonly known way of approaching those broken octaves. What you'll be doing is adding something to your practice that obstructs the playing that needs to be done in order to obtain or reach that level of perfection the music requires. In the clip I'm about to show, you'll see that page performed as near to perfection as you're going to find anywhere, on every level and in all aspects in the realm of music making. So that's with rhythm, voice leading, articulation, phrasing. You think of it and it delivers. And I would ask that you look carefully at the left hand and those broken octaves. What you will notice is that far from having the rocking motion or the doorknob jiggling motion Dr. John O'Connor recommends, the hand is, for the most part, perfectly stationary. I see perfection as a destination point, a specific location on a plane or a grid, let's say. And while at the beginning we're scattered, all of us starting at different locations on the grid, facing all sorts of directions, we're like die, you know, the plural of dice. So we're like die that have been shaken and thrown from a cup and that have landed randomly on the board. So we're scattered everywhere, and perfection is a point. Eventually, as we hone in on playing it correctly and move closer to that ideal, i.e. those coordinates on the grid that house perfection, we start to get closer and closer to one another. We're not so dispersed as we used to be. So we start off everywhere, and then we're all, eventually we turn and head in the same direction, and the closer we get to that point of perfection, the closer we get to each other, and the more similar the way we play the piece becomes. It's like how race car drivers chase the ideal line, and the faster the lap times, the closer the lines they take become in similarity. In the fastest times will be the least divergence from the ideal line to be found. And those times will only differ in terms of tenths or hundredths of a second. So when two people reach that point of perfection or of purity, what they do there will be practically identical, because there is no room anymore for any extraneous or superfluous actions. You will find something similar done in this clip, as is done by Evgeny Kissin at the beginning of the descending chordal response to the opening call. But that is mentioned nowhere by the roll of honour in terms of getting the broken octaves right. So Dr. John O'Connor, and the pianists featured on that tone-based piano, I call them the roll of honour, and I would call that tone-based piano channel a propaganda wing of the roll of honour. So that detail you won't hear from them at all in terms of getting the broken octaves right. Instead you get they talk about doorknob jiggling. So, and it's a little interruption. It's where the one phrase or the first part of the phrase ends and the next begins. And so you'll see a similar thing done by me and by Evgeny Kissin. And it's similar because Evgeny Kissin is striving towards perfection and has neared that point. You will see that he doesn't do it with the same level of refinement, of naturalness that I do it, but that it is something we both do independent of each other, something that the path to perfection demands. So that's an example of how the similarities can grow. And I would also say to watch out in the consistency of the rhythm and the tone of the repeated notes that are played for even the slightest hint of fatigue or stiffness or struggle. Conclude this video. If you were my student, I would not want to listen to anything less than perfection. And in order to achieve that, I would have to remove all those things in your playing that obstruct your path to perfection, or that send you off in the wrong direction, or that have you stuck in a dead end. And Dr. John O'Connor's doorknob jiggling would be one of the first of those obstructions to go. You can examine the clip, examine the left hand, examine the broken octaves. Look at the hand, look at the arm and all. And look for the rocking, the doorknob jiggling that he'd send you off doing in your practice. And think, what does your common sense tell you? Think in terms of you're not going to let anybody pull the wool over your eyes. And Dr. John O'Connor, he's artist in residence. I saw him recently on the internet. He's artist in residence in the Technical University in Dublin. And I used to go there, and when I went it was still called the Dublin Institute of Technology. And so I'm not there anymore. I've no connection. But if this video could find anybody who's studying there, a student studying piano, they could use this and they could present it. So he's their artist in residence. And he is recommending, what he recommends in how to play the broken octaves is something that actually prevents you from being able to play those broken octaves. And I'm providing a demonstration of those broken octaves played perfectly. And I'm saying there is no doorknob jiggling when they're being played, and that doing that will prevent you from being able to play them properly. So they could present them with that and have him explain it. Why is he talking about something that has no business being there in terms of achieving perfection? And what does he have to say about it? It would be an opportunity, and it would be an opportunity, you know, if that could get to them somehow. You know, I think of like 5 degrees of separation, and it would be, and it could be presented to the faculty there, and saying, how come you're endorsing all that? How come this guy is saying it doesn't work? And look at how he plays it. Look at how perfect he plays them. That's what you see on that video is what needs to be done to play it to that level of perfection. And if you were to confront it, I've said about Roll of Honor people on my videos, for anybody who's seen any of my videos, I've said that these people talk to you like they're your best friend. And he does that on the short too. He talks to you like he's your best friend. So it shouldn't be a problem bringing this to his attention, because, you know, he's your best friend. He'll be only too happy to answer it. But what will happen is, if you, they're a snake in the grass. So confront them. If you confront them with it, their first move to try and wriggle out of it, because that's what they'll try and do, will be to say that it is obviously, and they'll add the obviously to imply how stupid you are for even bringing it to them. It's obviously the exaggerated version used in slow practice, but will be less obvious the closer you get to playing it full. You know, playing it full speed. The rocking motion is absent in that clip I showed you because it was never a part of the process. And any time you spend doorknob jiggling is wasted time. Take a slow step. What parts of that slow step completely disappear when the step is done quicker? None of them. Take a slow handicapped step and speed it up. What handicapped elements remain in the sped up version? All of them. Slow handicapped playing of those broken octaves turns into quick handicapped playing of those broken octaves. And if you want the answers of how to perfectly play those broken octaves, if you want all the correct answers and none of this false information that actually prevents you from being able to play the piano, that wastes your time doing things that you'll spend days and months with this exaggerated rocking motion in the hopes that at the end of it you'll be able to play that piece. and you finally meet someone like me who actually knows how to play it, how to successfully perform those broken octaves. You'll have me undoing all that the likes of Dr. John O'Connor had you doing. So if you don't want to, if you're thinking, I'm not going to let anybody pull the wool over my eyes, and if you're looking for value for money, because those students there, going there, they're paying for that. This is an opportunity to use the clip and assert your rights and say, what's the deal? Why does he say that? And why, when I look at the clip of him playing it, why, how come it is perfect, and how come there is no rocking motion? And how come this is all new to me? Because I'm here paying to learn how to play the piano. Yeah, so I just put this video out there as a to empower you, the student, and give you something to that you can use. Because a lot of the things, if you have a suspicion that this stuff isn't working, what'll be thrown at you, well then show me how it's done perfectly. And of course it's not easy to achieve perfection in anything. And just because you haven't yet achieved perfection doesn't mean you're wrong, or your instinct is wrong when you think this doesn't sound right, or this isn't really working. There you have a chance. You can show them the perfection and say, and you have what I say, and you can argue your case, and you can get them to give you your money's worth and earn their money. Yeah, so that's why